Kilgara. In a land of myth, and a time of magic, the destiny of a great kingdom rests on the shoulders of a young boy, his name, Merlin. Morgause's enchanted fortress. Day. Morgause watches Arthur through a magic crystal in her enchanted fortress. Morgause. Hyder eft funde. On East nay Middengeard. Arthur Pendragon, a great destiny awaits you. The battle for your soul is about to begin. King's Palace, Hall of Ceremonies, Night.
Uther. Arise Sir Vidor, Knight of Camelot. Arise Sir Caradoc, Knight of Camelot. A warrior enters the city, and fights his way to the castle, killing 5 guards with ease. Uther. You have been accorded a great honor. But with that honor comes great responsibility. From this day forth, you are sworn to live by the knight's code. You have pledged to conduct yourselves with nobility, honor, and respect. Your word is your sacred bond. You will find no one who better embodies these values than my son, Arthur. Follow his example, and you will prove yourselves worthy of your title.
The warrior fights his way into the ceremonies hall. The entire court turns to the door at the sound of sword fighting outside. A knight enters. The newly made knights of Camelot draw their swords as the knight approaches. Arthur steps forward and the knight drops gauntlet in front of Arthur, who picks it up. Arthur. I accept your challenge. If I'm to face you in combat, do me the courtesy of revealing your identity. The knight removes the helmet to reveal a wealth of long blonde tresses. The knight is a woman. Morgause. My name is Morgause. King's Palace, Council Chamber, Night. Uther and Arthur consult Geoffrey of Monmouth. Geoffrey. I've searched the records going back more than 300 years. I could find nothing to say a woman cannot issue a challenge. Uther. There must be some way to put a stop to this. Geoffrey. According to the knight's rules, it appears her challenge is perfectly valid. Arthur. It seems there's nothing we can do. Uther. We don't know anything about this woman. I will not let you face her in combat. Arthur. I accepted the challenge. If I refuse to fight, it'll be seen as an act of cowardice. Uther. She killed 5 guards. You should not underestimate her. Arthur. I cannot demand that my knights uphold the code, then be seen to break it myself. I must face her tomorrow. King's Palace, Morgana's Chambers, Night. Morgana watches Morgause practicing in the square. Gwen. Who is she? Why would she challenge Arthur? It seems no one's ever heard of her. Morgana. I feel as if I've met her somewhere before. Gwen. Really? Where could you know her from? Morgana. I don't know. King's Palace, Arthur's Chambers, Night. Merlin. Do you know why she challenged you? Arthur. I'm the king's son. Perhaps she believed she will prove herself. Merlin. Yeah, but you don't want to fight her, do you? Arthur. I have no choice. If I refuse to fight her, I'm a coward. If I kill her, what am I then? What is it? Merlin. You've never faced a woman in combat. What if you hesitate? She could use that to her advantage. Arthur. You think she's going to defeat me? Merlin. I'm just saying. You need to be cautious, because it sounds like she's pretty handy with a sword. Arthur. Since when do you know anything about combat? I need you to take a message to Morgause for me. If I'm seen to do it, it could be viewed as cowardice. You must persuade her to withdraw her challenge. King's Palace, Morgause's Guest Chambers, Night. Merlin enters. Morgause corners him with a sword. Morgause. What do you want? Merlin. I have a message from Prince Arthur. He wants you to withdraw your challenge. Arthur has no desire to fight you. Now, if you withdraw, he will grant you safe passage through the kingdom. Leave now, while you still can. Morgause. If Arthur has no desire to fight me, perhaps he should withdraw. Merlin. No, he'll never do that. It's not in him to withdraw. More goes. Then we have that in common. Merlin. If you fight him, he will have to treat you as he does any other opponent. It won't matter that you're a woman. More goes. I do not ask for special treatment. Merlin. Arthur has no quarrel with you. Why would you challenge him? More goes. My reasons are not your concern. Merlin. Don't put Arthur in a position where he's forced to kill you. More goes. Who's to say Arthur's life won't rest in my hands? Tournament grounds, day. Uther enters to the battleground. Merlin prepares Arthur for the fight. Merlin. You gave her a chance to withdraw. Whatever happens, you are not to blame. Tournament grounds, day. Arthur enters. Morgause is waiting. Uther. The fight is by the knight's rules, and to the death. Arthur goes near Morgause. Arthur. I'm offering you a final chance to withdraw. I suggest you take it. Then you leave me no choice. They fight. Arthur catches Morgause in the arm, but allows her to pick up her sword. She disarms him and presses her sword to his chest. Morgause. Make me a promise and I will spare your life. Arthur. What is it you ask? Morgause. Come to me 3 days hence and accept the challenge I set to you. Arthur. And the nature of this challenge? Morgause. That is for me to decide. Do I have your word that you will accept, no matter what? Arthur. You have my word. King's Palace, Morgause's guest chambers, day. Gaius tends to Morgause's wounded arm. Gaius. You're fortunate the wound isn't too deep. You seems familiar. Have you visited Camelot in the past? Morgause. I was here many years ago. I was just a baby at the time. I doubt you'd remember me. I'm grateful for your help. King's Palace, Arthur's chambers, day. Arthur is slumped over the table. Merlin. It could have been worse. Arthur. How, exactly, could it have been worse? Merlin. You could be dead. Arthur. At least I wouldn't have to face everyone. I've never felt so humiliated in my entire life. I was defeated by a girl. Merlin. It's actually quite funny when you think about it, or not? Arthur. No, it's like you said. I was hindered because I was fighting a woman. I was worried I was going to hurt her. That's why she won. Merlin. You didn't look hindered. Arthur stares at him. Merlin. I'll stop talking now. King's Palace, Morgause's guest chambers, night. Morgana knocks on the door and enters. Morgana. I didn't mean to intrude. I wanted to introduce myself. I'm the Lady Morgana. Morgause. I know who you are. Morgana. How is your arm? You were wounded. Morgause. It'll heal soon enough. You look tired. Morgana. I haven't been sleeping. Morgause. I know for myself how troubling that can be. Morgana. Could it be that we've met somewhere before? Morgause. Shakes head. I'm glad we have met now. Morgana. That's a beautiful bracelet. Morgause. It was a gift. From my mother. Please, I would like you to have it. It's a healing bracelet. It will help you sleep. Morgana. I couldn't, you must be tired. I will leave you to rest. Morgause. I hope you will remember me fondly. King's Palace, Morgana's chambers, night. Morgana stirs restlessly in her sleep. Morgause watches her and hold up bracelet. Morgause. Gefel tu mahie at hio on sleep. Morgause places bracelet at the end of Morgana's bed. Morgana stops twitching. King's Palace, gate, day. Morgause prepares her horse for travel. Arthur leads his horse out of the drawbridge gate and stops. Arthur. Congratulations on your victory. You're a skillful swordsman. Woman. Swords. Swordswoman. Morgause walks over to his horse. Morgause. You have a beautiful horse. Arthur looks at his horse and Morgause's eyes glow. Morgause. I shall expect to see you 3 days hence. Arthur. How will I find you? Morgause. When the time comes, you will know your way. Arthur. If I don't show up, it might be because I don't know where I'm going. Morgause. The path you must follow will become clear to you. She mounts her horse. Morgause. I should thank you for allowing me to retrieve my sword. Arthur. I'm starting to wish I hadn't, Morgause. You showed yourself to be a man of honor. You inherited that trait from your mother. Arthur. You knew my mother. Morgause. I knew her very well. Morgause leaves. Arthur. Wait. King's Palace, Morgana's chambers, day. Gwen tries to shake Morgana awake. Gwen. Morgana. 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 I was fast asleep. Gwen. It's nearly midday. Morgana. I can't remember the last time I slept so well. Gwen. I'll fetch you some clothes. Morgana finds the magic bracelet. King's Palace, Council Chamber, day, Uther. And what is to be the nature of this challenge? Arthur. She didn't say. But I gave her my word that I would accept it no matter what. Uther. You should never have made such a promise. You have no idea what she might ask of you. Arthur. She had her sword to my chest. I had no choice. Morgause said that she knew my mother. Uther. She told you this. Obviously she's lying. She's playing on your affections for your mother to lure you into a trap. Arthur. That makes no sense. She spared my life. Uther. It confirms my suspicions. I believe Morgause is an enchantress. How else could she have defeated you? Arthur. I don't believe she was using magic. Uther. And you would know for certain if she were. Under no circumstances will you go to meet her, or accept this challenge. Arthur. I gave her my word. Uther. I don't care what was said to her. You will remain in Camelot. Arthur. I want to hear what she knows about my mother. Uther. She knows nothing. She is lying. You will not go to her. I forbid it. Arthur. So I am to break my word. Uther. To guards. Escort my son to his chambers. Under no circumstances will he be allowed to leave. Arthur. You're confining me to my chambers. Uther. I am protecting you from your own foolishness. King's Palace, Arthur's chambers, day. Merlin walks to Arthur's chambers, confused to see the guards before he enters. Merlin. Why are the guards outside the door? Arthur. My father has confined me to my chambers and has forbidden me from accepting Morgause's challenge. Merlin. Well, maybe he's got a point. You don't know what she might have asked you to do. Arthur. I gave her my word. Merlin. So, I take it we're going anyway. Arthur. You're smarter than you look. Gather some supplies, we leave tonight. Oh. And Merlin. Find a way to get me out of here. King's Palace, Physician's Chambers, night. Merlin enters. Gaius. How's Arthur? Merlin. You mean after being defeated by a girl in front of the whole of Camelot? I've seen him happier. Gaius. I think you're enjoying this, Merlin. Merlin. Maybe a little. Merlin sees rope and pretends to grind something for Gaius while sneaking the rope under his clothes without knowing Gaius. Merlin. Whisper, Ik a Gahada, Sirabundan. King's Palace, Arthur's chambers, night. Merlin enters. Arthur is now dressed in chainmail. Merlin. I got the supplies. Arthur. Merlin, is it my imagination, or are you getting fat? Merlin lifts his shirt to reveal the rope wrapped around his torso. Arthur smiles. King's Palace, Arthur's chambers, night. Merlin prepares to anchor Arthur as he climbs out the window. Arthur. Are you sure you're strong enough to hold me? Merlin. Yeah. I'm stronger than I look. Arthur slides halfway down. Arthur. Lower voice, what are you doing? Lower the rope. Merlin look the rope and panic. Merlin. There is no more rope. I don't know if I can hold on much longer. Arthur. Merlin, do not let go of the rue. The rope slips and Arthur falls face first into a pile of dung. Forest. Morning. Merlin and Arthur ride through the woods. Merlin. Which way? Do you actually know where we're going? Arthur. It's this way. Come on. What is wrong with this horse? It's even dumber than you, Merlin. Merlin. Where are you going? I thought you said it was left. Arthur. It's not me. It's the horse. Morgause told me when the time comes, you'll know your way. Merlin. So the horse knows where we're going. Great. King's Palace, Physician's Chambers, Day. Gaius. Come on, Merlin. Merlin. Merlin's chamber is empty. King's Palace, Corridor, Arthur's Chambers, Day. Gaius and Uther march to Arthur's chambers. Uther sees the open window.
Uther. You've been guarding an empty room. Send out a search party. Find Arthur and bring him back to Camelot. Do you have any idea what Morgause might want with Arthur? Gaius. I'm afraid I don't. Forest. Day. Merlin and Arthur ride through the woods. Merlin. What if Morgause challenges you to do something you don't want to do? Arthur. I'm not expecting it to be easy, Merlin. That's why it's called a challenge. Merlin. So you'd do anything she asks of you? Arthur. I gave her my word. It's a question of honor. Merlin. What if she challenges you to do something even less honorable than breaking your word? Arthur. Will you stop rabbiting on? We're in Odin's territory. We could be attacked at any second. Merlin. I just think it's strange to agree to do something when you don't know what it is. Arthur. One more word out of you, Merlin, and you'll be taking the challenge in my place. They're attacked by Odin's men. Merlin falls off from his horse. Arthur fight with Odin's men. Merlin see a man on a tree with a spear aiming Arthur. Merlin. Gar onbairn, he fall off from the tree. Arthur finishes off other attackers. And see Merlin on the ground. Arthur. Don't worry, Merlin. I'll deal with this. You lie there, make yourself comfortable. Merlin. Maybe we should turn back. The woods could be full of Odin's men. Arthur. You can go back if you want to, I won't stop you. Merlin. You don't know anything about Morgause. You don't know what she's gonna ask you to do. We don't even know where we're going, we're following a horse. Arthur. Morgause said she knew my mother. King's Palace, Morgana's Chambers, Day. Morgana. Gaius, come in. Gaius. Good day, my dear. I brought you your sleeping draught. Morgana. I could have saved you the trouble. I had the best night's sleep I can remember. Gaius. No nightmares. Morgana. I can't tell you what a relief it is. I only wish I could thank Morgause for her gift. Gaius. Morgause gave you that bracelet. Morgana. She told me it would help me sleep. She spoke the truth. Gaius. What is it? Gaius. Nothing. I'm merely surprised that it's so effective.
Morgana. I feel as if I somehow know Morgause.
Gaius. I don't see how. But I'm pleased you're feeling better. Forest. Camp. Night. Merlin and Arthur sit at a campfire. Merlin. What was your mother like? Arthur. I never knew her. She died before I opened my eyes. Merlin. I'm sorry. Arthur. I barely know anything about her. Merlin. Can't you ask your father? Arthur. He refuses to talk about her. It must be too painful for him. Sometimes it's as if she never even existed. I still have a sense of her. Almost as though she's part of me. Merlin. That's the same with my father. I never knew him, and my mother's barely spoken of him. I've got this vague memory. It's probably just my imagination. Arthur. I'd do anything for even the vaguest memory. Merlin. Is that why you're so determined to find Morgause? To see what she knows about your mother? Arthur. Is that so wrong? Merlin. No. Arthur. I should get some rest. King's palace, council chamber, night. Gaius enters. Uther is eating. Gaius. My lord, I must speak with you. It concerns Morgause. Uther. What is it? Gaius. While I was treating her wound, I noticed that she wore a bracelet. Uther. Go on. Gaius. And it bore the mark of one of the great houses, the great house of Gerloy. There is only one person, other than Morgana, who would have cause to wear such a bracelet. That is, a half-sister. Uther. I was led to believe that the child had died. Gaius. The child lived, my lord. She was smuggled out of Camelot shortly after her birth. Uther. How do you know this? Gaius. It was I who entrusted the child to the high priestesses of the old religion. Uther. You should have told me, Gaius. Gaius. I had sworn a solemn oath, my lord. I'm only breaking it now because I fear what Morgause might do. Uther. Does Morgana know? Gaius. I don't believe so.
Uther. Morgana must never find out she has a half-sister. I will not have her loyalties divided.
Gaius. Of course. The high priestesses will have trained Morgause from birth. Her magic will be powerful. Uther. Then we must hope the search party finds Arthur before he reaches her.
Lake. Day. Merlin and Arthur come to a lake with a waterfall. Merlin. It seems your horse has brought us to a dead end. Arthur's horse walks forward to the water.
Arthur. Now where's he going? Merlin. I think you're going to get wet.
Arthur. You don't say. Merlin. Arthur. Merlin nudges his horse to follow them into the lake. Morgause's enchanted fortress. Day. Merlin enters a tunnel behind the waterfall and emerges from a wood to find Arthur staring up at the enchanted castle. Merlin. Where are we? Arthur. I don't know. Merlin. If we weren't sure Morgause was a sorcerer before, we can be certain of it now. Arthur. That must have been how she defeated me. She was using magic. Merlin. It didn't look like she was. Arthur. And what would you know about magic, Merlin? Merlin. Nothing. They dismount and enter into a chamber empty except for a block of wood with an axe. Arthur. Now what? Merlin. Maybe we should ask the horse. Well, there's no one here. Morgause. You kept your promise. Arthur. What is the nature of the challenge you wish to set me? Morgause. Place your head on the block. Morgause picks up the axe. Morgause. You gave me your word that you would do anything I asked. Merlin. Arthur, don't. Arthur kneels to place his head on the block. Merlin. What are you doing? I won't let you do this. Arthur. Stay out of this, Merlin. Morgause begins to swing the axe, then puts it down. Morgause. You have shown that you are truly a man of your word, Arthur Pendragon, and for that I will grant you one wish. Tell me what it is that your heart most desires. Arthur. You said you knew my mother. Tell me all that you know about her.
Morgause. Perhaps you would like to see her. Arthur. I want that more than anything. Morgause. As you wish. King's palace, council chamber, day. Sir Leon and other knights stand before Uther.
Sir Leon. The search party were unable to pick up a trail. There is no sign of Prince Arthur anywhere.
Uther. Redouble your efforts. Send riders to the outlying villages. I want my son found.
Sir Leon. Yes, my lord. The knights leave. Uther. It chills me to think what Morgause has planned for Arthur. Gaius. Had she chosen to, she already could have killed him. I believe she has some other purpose in mind.
Uther. Morgause told Arthur that she knew his mother. Gaius. She knew Igraine. Uther. I don't know. Perhaps it's a lie. She knew that it would tempt Arthur to go to her.
Gaius. You think that Morgause knows the true circumstances to Arthur's birth? Uther. I fear that more than anything. Morgause's enchanted fortress, Day. Merlin and Arthur wait for Morgause to prepare her spell. Merlin. Are you sure you want to do this, Arthur? If you were granted the same opportunity, would you not want to meet your father? Merlin. Uther won't forgive you if he finds out you've collaborated with a sorcerer. Arthur. What if my father's attitude to magic is wrong? Merlin. You really think that? Arthur. Perhaps it's not as simple as he would have us believe. Morgause is a sorcerer, she has caused us no harm. Surely not everyone who practices magic can be evil. Merlin. We don't actually know why she's doing this. Morgause. It is time. Close your eyes. Erase mid min maclan mit in suna to help. Hitter eft fund on is ne middengeerd in suna ways.
Igraine. Arthur. Arthur opens his eyes. Igraine. Arthur. Arthur. Mother. Igraine. My son. Igraine goes to Arthur and hugs him. Igraine. When I last held you, you were a tiny baby. I remember your eyes. You were staring up at me. Those few seconds I held you were the most precious of my life. Arthur. I'm so sorry. Igraine. You have nothing to be sorry for. Arthur. It was my birth that caused you to die. Igraine. No, you are not to blame. Arthur. I cannot bear the thought that you died because of me. Igraine. Do not think that. It is your father who should carry the guilt for what happened. Arthur. What do you mean? Igraine. It is not important. What matters is that you lived. Arthur. Why should my father feel guilty? Igraine. It is better left in the past. Arthur. You cannot leave me with more questions. Please. Igraine. Your father, he was desperate for an heir. Without a son, the Pendragon dynasty would come to an end. But I could not conceive. Arthur. But how was I born? Tell me. Igraine. Your father betrayed me. He went to the sorceress Nimue and asked for her help in conceiving a child. You were born of magic. Arthur. That's not true. Igraine. I'm sorry, Arthur. Your father has deceived you as he deceived me. To create a life must be taken. Your father knew that. Arthur. No, Igraine. He sacrificed my life so the Pendragon dynasty could continue. It makes you no less my son, nor me any less proud of you. Now I see you, I would have given my life willingly. Do not let this knowledge change you. Arthur looks back up and Igraine is gone.
Arthur. No. Bring her back. Morgause. I cannot. Once the doorway is closed, it is closed forever. I am truly sorry that you learnt of your mother's fate in this way. I can only imagine how it must feel to discover your father is responsible for her death. It is an unforgivable betrayal. Morgause leaves. Merlin. Are you all right? Arthur. Arthur. Fetch the horses. We're returning to Camelot. King's Palace, Main Square, Day. Merlin and Arthur return to Camelot. Arthur dismounts in the square and grabs the sword from his horse before walking up the steps into the castle.
Merlin. What are you going to do? Arthur keeps walking. Gaius comes up to Merlin.
Gaius. Merlin. I'm relieved to see you're safe. Where's Arthur?
Merlin walks around Gaius to face the wall of the courtyard corridor.
Merlin, Arthur was born of magic. Wasn't he? Uther used magic.
Gaius. Merlin. All those people he's executed, he's as guilty as they are. He sacrificed Arthur's mother. He as good as murdered her. People should know the truth about what he's done. How could you not tell me?
Gaius. I feared what Arthur would do if he ever found out. Merlin. Oh, he's found out now. Merlin runs up the steps into the palace. King's Palace, Council Chamber, day. Uther looks over some papers with Sir Leon when Arthur enters. Uther. Arthur. Where have you been? I have had search parties out looking for you, Arthur. Arthur. I know. What you did to my mother, Uther. Leave us. No one is to enter. Sir Leon exits and closes the doors. Uther. What are you talking about? Arthur. You were so desperate for an heir, you were prepared to use magic. Uther. Did Morgause tell you this? She's lying. Arthur. My mother is dead because of your selfishness and arrogance. Her blood is on your hands. Uther. No, that's not true. But Morgause would have you believe that. Arthur. This is what fuels your hatred for those who practice magic. Rather than blame yourself for what you did, you blame them. Uther. You would believe a sorcerer's lies over the word of your own father. I can only think that Morgause has enchanted you. Arthur. You hunted her kind like animals. How many hundreds have you condemned to death to ease your guilt? Stone Uther. Those who practice magic will stop at nothing to destroy us. I have only done what is necessary to protect this kingdom. Arthur. You speak of honor and nobility. You're nothing but a hypocrite and a liar. Uther. I am your king, and your father. You will show me some respect. Arthur throws his gauntlet at Uther's feet. Uther. Have you lost your mind? Arthur. Pick it up. Uther. Arthur, I implore you, think about what you're doing. Arthur. Pick it up. Uther. I will not fight you. Arthur draws his sword. Arthur. If you choose not to defend yourself, I will strike you down where you stand. Uther. You are my son. You will not strike an unarmed man. Arthur. I no longer think of myself as your son. Uther. Then strike me down. Arthur strikes, but Uther parries. Uther. I don't want to fight you. They fight. Uther. Arthur, stop this. Merlin runs up the wrought iron stairway. Meanwhile, Arthur and Uther fight. Merlin runs through the criss-cross corridor. Merlin reaches the door to the council chamber, but Leon blocks him. Sir Leon. The king has forbidden anyone to enter. Merlin. They're going to kill each other. The Pendragons fight. Arthur disarms Uther and is about to strike, but Merlin opens the doors. Merlin. Arthur. Don't, I know you don't want to do this. Arthur. My mother is dead because of him. Merlin. Killing your father won't bring her back. You've lost one parent. Do you really want to lose another? Uther. Listen to him, Arthur. Merlin. Arthur, please, put the sword down. Arthur. You heard what my mother said. After everything he has done, do you believe he deserves to live? He executes those who use magic, and yet he has used it himself. You have caused so much suffering and pain. I will put an end to that. Gaius enters. Merlin. Morgause is lying. She's an enchantress. She tricked you. That was not your mother you saw. That was an illusion. Everything your mother said to you. Those were Morgause's words. Arthur. You don't know that. Merlin. This has been her plan all along. To turn you against your father. And if you kill him, the kingdom will be destroyed. This is what she wants. Uther. Listen to him, he's speaking the truth. Arthur. Swear to me it isn't true. You are not responsible for my mother's death. Give me your word. Uther. I swear on my life, I loved your mother. There isn't a day passes that I don't wish that she were still alive. I could never have done anything to hurt her. Arthur drops his sword and falls to his knee, slumping against his father's chair. Uther. My son, you mean more to me than anything. Arthur. I'm sorry. Uther. You are not to blame. King's Palace, Arthur's chambers, night. Arthur stares out the window. Merlin enters. Arthur. I am indebted to you, Merlin. I had become confused. It is once again clear to me that those who practice magic are evil and dangerous, and that is thanks to you. Merlin. Glad I could help. King's Palace, Physician's Chambers, night. Merlin enters. Uther is waiting. Merlin. My lord. Uther. I wanted to thank you in person for your actions yesterday. You are a loyal servant to Arthur. I am most grateful. Merlin. I was just doing my duty. Uther. You've proven yourself to be a trusted ally in the fight against magic. Merlin. Me. Uther. Those who practice magic will seek to exploit Arthur's inexperience. They will attempt to corrupt him. We must be extra vigilant. Merlin. I will keep my eyes peeled. Uther. I know you will. Uther walked towards the door and stop. Uther. If you ever speak of what happened between myself and Arthur to another living soul, I will have you hanged. Merlin. Right, of course. Yes, my lord. Uther exits. Gaius enters. Gaius. Was that Uther I saw just leaving? Merlin. Yeah. He just popped in to say hello. Gaius. Merlin, what did he want? Merlin. He wanted to thank me for being a trusted ally in the fight against magic.
Gaius. How you've managed to keep that head on your shoulders is a mystery beyond our greatest minds. Uther should be grateful. Your life would have been easier and safer if you'd let him die. You must have been tempted. Merlin. Maybe for a moment. But Arthur wouldn't have been able to forgive himself if he'd gone through with it. It would have destroyed him. Gaius. I'm proud of you, Merlin. Merlin. Arthur's thanking me. Uther's grateful. You're proud. I've never been this popular. Gaius. I'm almost certain it won't last. Merlin. Just let me enjoy the moment. Morgause's enchanted fortress, night. Morgause crystal gazes. Morgause. Eti mea exeche. Morgause sees Arthur and Uther sitting down laughing with one another. Q angry. Morgause.